In this demonstration, we are going to show how to properly change the oil in your Jeep Grand Cherokee. Before we get started, what else you will need to accomplish this oil change. You'll notice what we have here is a full case, 12 bottles of 1 liter apiece of Mobil 1. It's ESP, which is the manufacturer recommended 5W30 for this particular engine. We also have a new oil filter rubber gripper, and this will be used to remove the oil filter cover. And you want to be sure to get the largest one that you can find at your auto parts retail store. As you'll see, once we pull the drain plug, there's going to be a lot of activity down here. And to remove your engine cover, if you haven't already done so in the past on your 3-liter diesel, you're going to need a 10mm standard socket. And once those bolts are loosened, the cover pops up and pulls straight off like so. Now, once the engine cover is off, you might notice something a little bit different from your own engine at home, and that is the absence of the neoprene covers which line each bank left and right. It's always a wise idea to pull up the dipstick. As you notice on this dipstick, there's actually a small rubber seal. What we're doing here is just pulling up the dipstick, and we'll be removing the oil filler cap just to allow the system the proper air pressure above, pushing the oil out below. Our cover is already removed from our oil fill, and well, this is going to be your oil fill and also your filter container, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. Some of you may be asking the question how it would be the best way to remove the residual oil from inside the housing. What we will be doing is using good old soak method, and we'll remove as much of the oil as possible to prevent contamination of our new clean oil when we fill it in. And here is our filter still affixed to the container cap. There's really not a whole lot to comment on here, except if you have a set of gloves to keep your hands from getting dirty, if that's the kind of mechanic you are, then I would probably recommend this is the place where you're going to start using them. With our top end procedures pretty much completed, we are now underneath the vehicle and ready to start loosening the oil drain plug. For that drain plug, you will need a 13mm socket. Okay, while that's draining, we're going to move on to the oil filter replacement. You should also receive a small baggie that has 2 new O-ring seals, and it's very important that at every oil change you change these seals along with the filter. So what we're going to do now is remove the filter, the old filter, from the housing, and as a part of that we're also going to be removing and replacing the used seals. Probably not a bad time to inspect the interior of the oil filter cap, just to make sure there isn't any foreign debris, at least anything that you can see and remove while we have it out of the engine. It's always a good thing to do. Good time to mention, while we're waiting for this to fill, that the manual recommends about 9.5 liters, 9 to 9.5 liters in your 3-liter diesel engine. Now, depending on how much oil is residual on the internal components, your fill may differ. Your fill will vary, actually. Last time the oil was changed in this vehicle, the exact recommended spec was filled in, and we found ourselves still just a tad shy of the full mark on our dipstick. So something else you might want to keep in mind, which is also why it's recommended to buy a full case at a time instead of your exact amount. This way you've got a little bit extra to play with. Okay, so after the filling procedure on the oil filter housing is complete, and you're tightened back down to torque spec, which is printed on the top of the lid. We'll move over here to the regular oil fill. And that's it.